Okay. I want to turn to a different subject. Inorganic Chemistry, the journal, is celebrating its 50th anniversary year. Both of you began your careers, I guess, shortly after Inorganic Chemistry started. In fact, Ted Brown was one of the early associate editors of Inorganic Chemistry. So how did you view the journal way back and today, and what do you see going forward?
I mean, it's an extremely fine journal, and I'm very proud of the publications I have there.
Yeah, I think the journal has become a lot more diverse, you know, but at the same time, I think that's really good, because I like a journal where I can go through that, every issue of that, and run into different things, as opposed to a more specialized journal where the areas are more confined. But we published the first part of my thesis in '67 with Ted, and I think I started receiving inorganic hard copies in '64. So I had all the issues, which I've now gotten rid of because I don't need them anymore. But so inorganic has always been sort of a major place that was a focus point for submitting publications. I was always proud of the papers I published there, and I always kept track of what's published there, and we still do. So it's a major player because you can find things from organometallic to solid state to coordination chemistry to bioinorganic. And it's really nice because you get ideas from all these areas.
I think that's a very, very good point. One of the challenges, I think, in a traditional, I'll call it traditional discipline journal, whether it's Inorganic Chemistry or Journal of Organic Chemistry, is the fact that today, with people are looking to have their bioinorganic chemistry read by biologists, and people doing materials might be interested in having their papers read by materials and polymer chemists.
Yes, that's a little scary, but I think it's what has to happen. It's a little scary in that you can miss manuscripts, you can miss information in papers that the author of that paper doesn't even understand what's important, what's of universal importance to other areas.
Do you have a view of what our challenges are going forward for inorganic chemistry and how we can take advantage of those challenges?
Yeah, we both have the application on our iPhone, and there's some real advantages to that. You can articles of relevance to your students, you can zip them emails right away to read, be sure and read this articles, and you can do this wherever you are.
Starbucks.
Yes, so that's very useful. At the same time, what I found in my career when I was reading the hard copies was that often just turning the pages, I saw things that interest me that I don't see now because I don't turn the pages. I go to the internet and I look at the abstract, I look at the synopsis figures, those are very, very handy. But it's not quite the same as turning the pages. And I think we've gotten to the point now where very few of us turn the pages of any journal. And so there was something that I think I'll miss by doing that. But nevertheless, there's so much information now that it's impossible to ever consider going back to those days.
You touch on a point, is browsing,
Yeah,
and being able to see something, the accidental
Yeah.
observation of something really interesting.
Don't you think we ought to be able to replicate that somehow with our
Absolutely.
Nooks and our Kindles and just our readers?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and we should be able to replicate it, but we're not going to actually do exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
There will be different kinds of browsing, perhaps. As you look at the table of contents, if you want to scan through all the figures of a paper, you can do that. And so that might turn out to be how our students browse
Right,
rather than how we browsed.
right.
So
Yeah, I think we couldn't expect to browse as we did in those days now because there's just a lot more publications that we need to be browsing.
I hope all of you viewers have had an interesting time watching this. Thank you for sharing.